program is produced using the resources of Public Media Network in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Learn more at publicmedianet.org.
Thanks for listening to Connecting Communities, a podcast where we talk about the environment, which is a special episode that we shot on site at Battle Creek Unlimited with urban planner Kris Martin. Kris is leading a project impacting the downtown area of Battle Creek and the Kalamazoo River that runs through it. My name is Dee Chauvin, and I sat down with Kris to shoot this episode. Thanks so much for listening. You want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Yeah, I'm Kris Martin, urban planner at Battle Creek Unlimited.
I reached out to talk to you about the project down by the river where Graphic Packaging International, their building center of multiple buildings.
Yes. About a 10-acre campus, yeah.
Yeah, shut down, got torn down, and now is pretty much dirt, right?
Yeah, so it's been a multi-year project, really, in regards to graphic packaging. So yeah, I help oversee the Kalamazoo River Restoration Project, and that is our newest parcel that's going to be soon within BCU's portfolio to make that successful. So yeah, it's a unique public-private partnership. So graphics packaging closed in the year 2022. It consolidated some of its facilities and modernized its equipment up in the greater Kalamazoo area. And so that plant closed. A third-party holding company called New Mill Holding acquired it, tried to repurpose or recycle as much of the materials, and then we collaborated with them. Our boss at BCU collaborated, and they did a unique public-private partnership where we utilized grant funds from the state of Michigan that we acquired back in 2022 with the holding company to demolish, clean up, and remediate not only the parcels, but also the adjacent parking lots and other areas too. The term, I guess, is green spacing or cleaning it up. And so that's not within quite our portfolio yet. After that's all wrapped up, we'll do our environmental due diligence, so environmental assessments, BSAs, phase 1 analysis, because it is a brownfield site, and then it'll be symbolically donated to us, even though we've invested some of our grant funds in collaboration with the holding company. So really unique time, because some of these projects can sit for quite a while, or holding companies can acquire them and choose to, just pay the taxes and keep it like that. But it really, reduces the blight, and there's also a fair level of contamination with a 100-year-old paper company as well. So that cleanup is pretty crucial to the city.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. You said that there was some remediation, some maybe hazardous materials. It's a brownfield. Can you talk more about the impacts to that immediate environment there?
Yeah, so in that particular case, it's good to see that there was a power plant actually located on that facility too. That's been removed and cleaned up, but it was a recycling paper carton co. I did pull up kind of some unique history. It was really involved instrumentally within the city back in, I think, 1907. 1907. Michigan Carton Company was first founded by W.K. Kellogg as its first president. So it was really tied to that cereal boom that took place over 100 years ago. It has since changed multiple facilities, but it was high-wage jobs really for good working blue collar jobs. We have several staff members here that actually used to work at that facility. It's hard work, dangerous work, really, to some degree. And so we definitely want to recognize, the shift of the downtown, right, from a large industrial space. BCU, we help manage and promote Fort Custer Industrial Park that has over 13,000 jobs. And so strategically placing those industries, in a more exact location and allowing the downtown to have more vibrancy and mixed use development and housing Some of those businesses that have been relocated throughout the park, so not all the businesses and parcels that we've acquired have left the community, um, such as CSC Morris. They located within the park. They were just adjacent on the other side of Fountain Street, and so we definitely want to make sure there's good paying jobs for the community members, but also realize this is a unique opportunity. We try to do adaptive reuse with facilities. BCU has done that with the Milton, with the former McCanley Hotel, now the Doubletree Hotel. We're focusing on like where New Holland Brewing Company is. That was a public-private partnership as well. So we try to do adaptive reuse. But with that unique facility, with its environmental challenges that we'll find out through our due diligence in the next upcoming months, this is a good time, in our opinion, to make that transition happen, even though our river project is a long-term, multi-year project. Getting these things ready now is huge. And so, yeah, a lot of that work is due to the new mill and my boss really making sure that this project happened in regards to GPI.
So the extent of the current plan right now, I mean, a river naturalization project is a little vague. You mentioned about housing. Is there a structured plan for long term further down the road?
Yeah, great question. So, yeah, it is a multifaceted plan. So there's a lot of stakeholders at the table, really. So I guess we can go back a little in time. So how do these stakeholders come to be? The biggest player probably, of course, is the city and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. For those of you that are unfamiliar with the area, this is located in downtown Battle Creek. The Battle Creek is named after the river, of course. There's the convergence between the Battle Creek and the Kalamazoo River. They both meet, and the downtown's kind of wedged between the two. The community, there's a good book I have in my office. The community was kind of almost, I don't want to say plagued, but by chronic flooding between the, you build a city there was hydroelectric power, there was use for trade. The rivers were really key to making communities like this successful. Fast forward, there was a lot of chronic flooding that took place in the downtown area. The last major flood took place in 1947. There's some images I'd be happy to share with you, Dee, that show why the Corps was really called in. The community was inundated with water. There was two kind of back-to-back floods in February with some free thaw cycles, and the businesses, there was a lot of residential that was just underwater for almost 2 weeks. And so the Army Corps got involved, and they did a multi-phase study back then. And some of that was tied into removing some communities, actually, and shifting from a downtown mixed with industry and residents to a more industry and commercial space that you see on Dickman now. And so that community was formerly known as the Bottoms. But yeah, that project was wrapped up where they actually removed a mill race. They rerouted the river. They created a new river channel, which is now what some people call the concrete river channel or the cement river. That's approximately a mile long, right where the convergence of Dickman Highway all the way down to where it meets up with Battle Creek and then becomes the Kalamazoo. Within our study, we're also looking at, there's a former hydroelectric dam that was built in 1892 called Monroe Street Dam. We've received funding from the state of Michigan to conduct a study right now. So that's ongoing with our consultants through OHM and a wide range of consultants there. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers just wrapped up their 3-year hydraulic modeling study that shows this project is feasible because of the land that BCU has acquired strategically. But with any good plan, there's more plans. So our consultants are going to be working on a 2-year plan. Right now, they're in the next few weeks, they're going to be doing sediment sampling within the river channel and on some of these key properties to see what we're dealing with to mitigate. And they're putting forward some proposals. And right now we have an ongoing survey to gather some information from the public that I'll talk more about. And then there's another, so we completed our feasibility study. Our project was recently included and passed in a bipartisan WRDA bill, which stands for Water Resource Authorization Act. That was passed the first week of January 2025 with huge bipartisan support and signed into law by President Biden. That includes our project because it is now feasible. This project has been conceptually pushed for over 2 decades, but the real push was getting funding from the state to acquire and clean up these sites, which we still have work to do. So now we're in WRDA, and now we have another proposed 4-year study ahead of us when we secure federal funding, and we're working on securing some local match. So that study is called the General Investigative Study, and that would be on an ecosystem restoration focus for this channel, which could include the removal of the channel, naturalizing of the area, and providing that same level, if not actually better, flood resiliency that was shown in our model, that certain things that weren't taken into consideration. So this project would actually provide more future resiliency for the community. And why does the Corps want to get involved in removing this channel, right? Well, with any piece of infrastructure, right, it has a useful lifespan, and it's extended its useful lifespan. So we'd have to spend millions and millions of dollars rebuilding it the same way. And then every 50 to 60 years, the community, in collaboration with the federal government, would have to, raise all this capital to rip out the channel, to rebuild the channel every 50 to 60 years. Our goal is to make it more sustainable and accessible by naturalizing it in a way. There might be a little bit more upfront cost for doing it that way, but long term, I want this community in Battle Creek to thrive for centuries to come, correct? And so making it more resilient, providing housing, providing a sense of place. Right now it's behind a chain link fence. There's been several fatalities in the river. It's not a safe place to recreate. People are not allowed to recreate in it. There's been instances of people becoming trapped in their vehicles or people fishing. And so our goal is to make it a community benefit, a community asset. And since this concept has come to be, there's some really good momentum that we have with bipartisan support within the state legislative branch and also the federal branch. People on both sides of the aisle really realize that this is a great piece. So to answer your question, there's multi-levels of planning that are going on. So there's a three-year study that just got wrapped up in September of 2024 that showed this project is feasible. They looked at the modeling, they looked at the land. We're working with our consultants over the next 20 months. The city, in collaboration with BCU and our wide range of stakeholders, they're going to be focusing on a kind of a preliminary feasibility study and a different viewpoint than maybe the Army Corps of Engineers might have. And then hopefully in the next year or two, we'll start our general investigative study. And after that's completed, if it's deemed successful and plausible, federal dollars will be brought in, local match will be raised, and then the implementation could occur.
Awesome. So it kind of sounds like, and I believe you guys own or have plans for the former site of the Kmart, right?
Yeah, yes.
So when that was torn down, ripped out, and now it's a green field, and people might drive by and think like, oh, nobody's doing anything with that, but that's not true.
Yeah.
There are things happening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Part of this investigative multi-year thing is a lot of work that's happening.
Yeah, and in that particular spot, there might be some faster moving parts there. So that wasn't really in the modeling that occurred with the Corps. That wasn't deemed that could be like a benefit added area essentially. And so there's potentially a mixed use housing development going in that facility to provide multi-income housing there and other amenities kind of later to be determined. But they received some MISHDA funding to do some preliminary work there, and there's a developer in mind. So because of that initiative behind the river, there is more eyes on bringing housing back in downtown, and that's a big goal that BCU has in our strategic plan, is to bring more housing units for the Battle Creek community. And so there could be some good work as we speak in the meantime, because this planning and multi-phased project on the quick end could be 7 years, on the long end could be 15 plus years. These projects do take time. So
yeah, Is there any ideas behind getting the old Horrocks building, which is across the street
Yeah.
and now vacant, right?
Yep. So that's now in our portfolio as well. So we worked with Horrocks when they relocated. They're still in the community. Luckily, I love going there.
Yep.
Same with my daughter. And so yeah, we've worked on cleaning that space up a lot. We're looking at bringing in different types of development, perhaps again mixed use, really, especially when that left it became. This area is also a quite underserved area, and so there's a lot of need. When Horrocks left, it really left a vacuum. It's nice
Food
that
desert.
it's nice that Uproot is going to be located in the downtown area to provide some fresh foods and vegetables. But Horrocks, still does a great job at that. But when they left that. There's not really a pharmacy. So we're looking at trying to bring things like that to make downtown a realistic and an attractive place to live, work, and play. And so hopefully something good will come of those quite large parcels. So.
Awesome, fantastic. And did you help them move into the old mall, because you say
No,
you were
yeah.
talking about reusing spaces too?
Yeah. So it's nice to see that vibrancy coming back with the mall. I was involved in a steering committee for the Beckley Road corridor project that just got wrapped up. There's some, I can share some information with you later if you're interested in that too. But no, to my knowledge, well, I was not involved. I'm not sure how. I think it was more them aligning maybe differently and expanding in a different way. But it's nice to see that they're doing so well at the mall, and there's looks like there's some more restaurants coming soon in that area. And so yeah, some of the study, on a side note, a study we were looking at bringing more housing into that area, making it more walkable for people. It's one of the most dense, Beckley Road corridor is one of the densest locations within the city. And so providing more opportunities there. But no, we weren't involved with that relocation.
Okay, gotcha. So are there other examples of similar naturalization projects?
Yes. Yeah. So we're not really reinventing the wheel here. This is common throughout most of really the nation, but in particular the greater Midwest and Great Lakes region, commonly known as the Rust Belt, right? So a lot of these industries, like I said, thrived with that, utilizing the river for water, for power, for sadly disposing of waste and other things back in the day before the Clean Water Act, right? And so and a lot of these industries that were once really prominent have since either changed their model or consolidated or relocated or closed. And so we've got a chance to visit one in the greater Milwaukee area. They're doing a lot of great projects in Wisconsin, in collaboration with the Army Corps and some of the projects and the Milwaukee Municipal Sanitation District. So BCU and other city Battle Creek officials, we went out back in October of, 2023. I can't believe it's almost coming up on 2 years, but we got a chance to see literally a concrete river channel like ours. Some of it wasn't as industrialized, but some of it was, where they daylighted the river. They provided walking amenities. I've got some images I'd be happy to share I took from that trip. They created a linear park. It was in an underserved, and this one in particular that I'm remembering, it was an underserved Hispanic community. They provided a lot of great amenities, recreational amenities, a linear path. It was connected up to another county park. But these projects do take time, just like in Milwaukee. These have been on the books for a decade plus. They take time, strategic planning, and then of course funding. But that community was also plagued by flooding, and there's a new way to provide that same level of resiliency, but now having it be accessible and a good amenity for people. So that's one example that comes to mind. There's also been an effort in Grand Rapids to provide more recreational opportunities in the downtown Grand Rapids area. So I've met with the director of that initiative as well and did a site visit up on the Grand River, providing some amenities, recreational opportunities, and things like that. This is also taking place in the greater Oakland County area too. Like in Detroit, the riverfront area in Detroit along the St. Clair River. used to be just heavily industrialized, but over the last 2 decades, they've done a great job of having a linear park, you know, bringing vibrancy back to Belle Isle, providing great recreational opportunities again. So highlighting what used to be an eyesore into an asset. And down also in Fort Wayne, Indiana, they've done a great job of restoring, not necessarily a concrete river channel, but removing blight, cleaning it up, providing parks, community spaces, and also housing and mixed use. So that all kind of ties in. So yeah, we want to try to blend what they're doing here, but our partnership is really unique because Battle Creek Unlimited, we're a nonprofit agency that's been in the community for over 50 years. We're focused, of course, on economic development. That also ties hand in hand with community development, really, and bringing, you know, when people want to choose where they work or where a business wants to choose to either expand or relocate or bring in jobs, they really look at, you know, what does the downtown look like in that community? We realize that a city is more than just its downtown, but a downtown is a real center point. And so this project really has a great opportunity to be a good, to build on the great things that have been taking place over the last 10 plus years in Battle Creek, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for speaking to that connection between, you know, BCU's work with economic development and this. Why does that matter to building a community up to have natural resources and outdoor spaces for people?
Mm-hmm. And the Battle Creek, to their credit, has been pretty forward thinking, you know, on some of these initiatives, like in the 1980s, when a large section of the rail, there used to be a large rail junction where Claire's is, and the Battle Creek Linear Trail used to be rail lines, and they were able to acquire that and make over 26 miles of trail. They were also really early adopters of fiber optic internet in the 1980s and 90s before it became the buzzword it is that has been the past 10 years. But that allowed for these large businesses and, of course, our military and defense presence within the community to stay and stay well established. So this is just a new forward thinking. The city leadership and city officials at DPW and planning and the city manager's office all have been in really great support of these initiatives and projects. So it's great to see that project. We also have a wide range of other stakeholders too, from the DNR fisheries divisions to Eagle, to our county community development authority, to several different local nonprofits such as the Kalamazoo River Watershed Council, the Huron Band of Potawatomi, as well as other state agencies as well too. So it's great to see. It's not just BCU carrying the flag; it's the city, and it's also a lot of local groups too. And I'm working on spreading more awareness of this project, especially with our survey that's going to be ongoing for several months now. And so I'll be happy to share that link with you. The city now has a project website as well too. That's great news, and BCU is in the process of overhauling its website. So it'll provide a great level of transparency on the project as things move forward.
Mm-hmm. As far as what makes Battle Creek special, I heard some things. We've got some fantastic natural resources. Like we do have the Kalamazoo River that comes through here, which currently breaks up the Kalamazoo River Trail, but this project could open that trail up for long distance, you know, from Albion, you could get all the way down to, you know, wherever in Kalamazoo. I haven't gone that far down to see where another block is, but Battle Creek has been the big stopping point for kayakers to be able to do the Kalamazoo River. So that would be amazing.
Yeah.
We also have the longest distance hiking trail, the North Country Trail that runs through Battle Creek as well. So we've really got some awesome opportunities and some really special resources at our fingertips here.
I completely agree. Yeah, this project, especially holistically with the concrete removal, the dam removal, and potentially there's 8 culverts under Dickman Highway just east of the dam on the river channel that we're looking at creating into a bridge that would provide up to 46 miles of connected river and about 13 different tributaries.
Wow.
So that would be huge. Essentially, yeah, from the Galesburg, Augusta area all the way up to Marshall, that connectivity piece would happen. There's been some removal of other dams along the way. You did ask about other projects that are going on. There's actually several projects right now within the Kalamazoo watershed that are ongoing. So the city of Albion, you mentioned Albion, they're looking at, they're currently underway of also doing a dam removal and restoration project within their downtown area where it's connected to their college campus as well. They have about 3 to 4 small low head dams there. I had an opportunity to visit the Trowbridge cleanup. It's a Superfund site that's been ongoing. It's been an ongoing project for over 30 years, but right now they're out there dredging and cleaning that up. That's over in Allegan County. There's several other potential dam removals taking place as well. So it's not just Battle Creek, but Battle Creek is well positioned to benefit from that kind of collective approach. The Conservation District, Calhoun Conservation District, just recently collaborated with some MSU undergraduate students on a Calhoun County water trails plan that will be available hopefully for the public in the next month, in collaboration with the DNR to talk about highlighting those assets, bringing more amenities in. We're looking at doing that now, especially in the meantime, collaborating with the Watershed Council, putting signage up in the community, installing universal design or ADA boat launches, and just bringing more awareness of the existing assets, especially along the Battle Creek River. It's just gorgeous in certain areas of the downtown, as well as certain sections of the Kalamazoo too. So bringing more awareness and pride, there's so many issues that a city faces, right? This one project isn't going to solve all of it. So how do we make this project be welcoming for hopefully a lot of individuals that live in the community and others that want to visit, or amenities like that would be good to have. So highlighting, yeah, those existing assets, expanding on those, and making it accessible. So that's why we really value the public's input. We've received over 100 responses from the survey so far. A lot of great feedback. Since we're very early on, we want to hear what the community wants and how we can incorporate that. We're not there with design ideas yet, and so this is a great point to get input from the public.
Yeah, I think so I already filled out the survey.
Good, thank you.
But I, believe it or not, don't have a great imagination. And so I was kind of like, I want to see plants instead of buildings. And, as I started to do more research to sit down with you today, I was suddenly like, yeah, the accessible kayak launches. I didn't even connect the opportunities there. I didn't think that removing that cement wall, was possible. And so I think it's great to sit down with you and talk about the possibilities, right? Which are many. And then folks can hear that, get their imaginations juicing, and then go fill out the survey.
I like it.
And see what they want. So how long is that survey going to be open? And we're going to link it.
So
to this video.
It was opened in April of this year through the Department of Public Works newsletter, the city's newsletter. We just spoke with our consultants. We're going to have it open-ended at least for the first 2 quarters of the project. So that could be all the way until the fall of this year. We're going to be doing some outreach events. We're also going to make it accessible for people to do hard copy soon too. So there is a QR code. You can take it online, but if you'd like to request a hard copy, we're going to have them available at the public libraries, at City Hall, at other potential community spaces too. Or if you need help filling that out or some translation services, the city will also be providing that too. So stay tuned. That'll hopefully be available in June for people to do it that way as well. But yeah, we're anticipating the fall, so there's no quite end date yet. This is while the consultants are gathering data, reviewing the environmental assessments, conducting the soil analysis and sediment analysis in the river and the adjacent properties, and really figuring things out, working on the infrastructure challenges. So this is a great point to kind of dream big. There's no wrong question, and we value people's input, and I'm really happy to see the positive feedback and great constructive ideas that people have presented too. So it's a quick survey. It's only just a few minutes long. Few open-ended questions, so not too much time if you have a moment. And that's available at the city's website. And I'll provide a link for you. You can visit battlecreekmichigan.gov, and then you can type in the Kalamazoo River naturalization, and I'll provide a URL for you.
Awesome, thank you.
And then stay tuned. BCU will also have its own project page coming soon this year as well.
Okay, where people can follow the project, because I would be really curious to see what some of the results of the investigation as far as the soil tests.
Yeah, me too.
I'm sure there's already been water tests and that kind of thing, but
well, especially with not only the legacy pollution, but about 15 years ago, the largest inland oil spill took place just 10 to 15 miles by the Verona Dam area, and a small tributary of the Kalamazoo River with the Enbridge oil spill. So there was a lot of cleanup that took place throughout this channel. And in the areas we're testing, there was mitigation done, but of course, not everything was removed. I think there was a cost-benefit analysis to not completely disrupt all of the river channel for the fish and wildlife species. So there might be some challenges we have to deal with from that, even though it was mitigated and cleaned up to some degree. And there's, of course, also legacy pollution challenges too. And then we're going to be restoring the river channel in former industrial and commercial spaces. So those will all have to be issues that will be. That's why good things take time, I guess, right? So, but that'll be investigated in these upcoming years.
Yeah. Are there any other key barriers? You've spoken to a lot of key barriers that this project is facing, or has faced.
Yes. So yeah, some of the key barriers really are just, I guess, the long-term nature of projects like this can be a barrier. That's why we're happy to have, great plans in place where whoever's present, because like city officials, we've this past year, the city manager retired. We have an interim city manager, Ted Deering, who's been a wonderful supporter of the project, but the city is currently actively hiring managers. City council always changes hands, right? And so the long term, making sure there's a good plan in place is huge. And just keeping that momentum up for a project that can be, 7 to 15 years in the making. That's multiple presidential cycles, right? Multiple elected officials. You got your House every 2 years, Senate every 6. So making sure who's ever present is aware of this project and need. Also, just making it competitive for funding. When we've been successful, we got like the highest DNR fisheries restoration grant in the state last year, which was huge. But there's only limited funding on the state level, and the federal side, there's been some funding cutbacks, of course. So strategically navigating those challenges, making the case is a real big one. But there's been a lot of great success and momentum since BCU's involvement. So I was actually hired on really to help make sure this project was successful. So BCU's been in the community for over 50 years, but I'm their first urban planner. So I've been with them now for 2. And so that really shows their continued involvement to hire me on, with my past experience in regional planning being really huge, and working on river projects too. So yeah, making sure the project is done, and working through all the due diligence that the U.S. Army Corps requires to make sure we meet those same flood model expectations, provide that sense of resiliency. There's various other challenges of infrastructure that we're working with our stakeholders on, such as Amtrak, commercial and passenger rail, MDOT with the bridge infrastructures that are going to be still present within the community. How do we address those when we're widening the river, providing utility? So all those things will take time. So those challenges are what make the general investigative study really crucial, really, from the Corps. But those takes funding and more years on the project. So, and project costs just seem to go up kind of year after year. So we're planning now for today's dollars, but we don't know what the future will bring. But we do know it will be more sustainable and provide greater resilience if this project can be implemented. So
Awesome. And what are some of the things that you have been most excited, that you're most looking forward to on this project? Again, 17 years down the line.
No, not that quick. Jeez, no, I'm still young.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I grew up in Southwest Michigan. I actually grew up playing floor hockey. I didn't grow up in Battle Creek, but I grew up in a small town of Buchanan. But I grew up playing floor hockey tournaments right downtown here as a kid.
Awesome.
And my grandfather finished up his World War II service at Fort Custer. Actually, he was a drill instructor, and so there is a little bit of family ties to the community. But I'm really excited just to see that vibrancy. I'm an active paddler myself, so I love kayaking. I've kayaked several sections of the river. My wife and daughter love it too. I was always very connected to the water, so providing that asset's really huge. What's really exciting is the bipartisan support for projects like this. Even though it's considered an environmental project, it really ties in that redevelopment piece. So it was really encouraging. Like when the WRDA passed in the U.S. Senate, like 97 out of 100 senators voted in favor of it. Over 400 members voted in the House in favor of it. That was, right in the beginning of January. You don't really hear about the good news in the world, but there is good news going on. There is support for projects like this, and that's really huge. And then seeing the local support we've been getting when doing outreach. There was things that were not done maybe the best in the 50s with removing of the housing. There's over 300 different family homes that were displaced. Some of them were happy about that, some of them weren't. So recognizing the history of this project is really huge to see urban planning be good, doing good things again, bringing back initiatives like that. So, and for me, it's nice to see adaptive reuse when can, but removing blight, cleaning up spaces. So yeah, I think it's really multifaceted, but the momentum to see how projects can work in other areas, how we can utilize those strategies here, and then just the great momentum and support and funding we've been able to succeed, and then making these projects feasible after 2 decades from the Corps is huge. So there's really been some good momentum. We're trying to build off that, and so yeah, good things to come.
Awesome. Yeah, sounds like it. It's very exciting. Very exciting to hear the bipartisan support, especially, you said federal funding, and I was like, oh no. But, to hear that it's a priority on both sides of the aisle is great. Great news. So that's fantastic. Is there anything else that you would want to add at this point? I know that we're gonna. I would love to get down to the site and
definitely,
and see, and talk down there a little bit. But what other?
No, I guess just thank you for your time. I appreciate this opportunity to get to speak like this. It's nice. We both sit on the city sustainability committee too, and so it's nice getting to meet you in person. So I've been on that committee for about 2 years now. Big supporter of a wide range of other initiatives too within the community. But this one in particular, I appreciate the notice that you're giving it, and of course the PSA on the survey for the community. So yeah, stay tuned. I'd be happy to catch up with you maybe in a few years' time to talk about some updates.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to do an update on this and continue following this journey. So,
thank you.
Cool. Thank you so much, Kris.
Yeah, thank you.